My name is Lena Carter. I'm 27 years old. And the day my stepsister blamed me for her debt was the day I realized just how far someone will go to avoid taking responsibility. But it wasn't her accusation that changed everything. It was the phone call that came after, the one from the bank with my name on their screen. Before I tell you what they said, and what my stepsister really did behind my back, tell me where you're watching from, and as you listen, ask yourself, what would you do if someone you considered family tried to drown you in a mess you never created? Don't forget to subscribe, because this one, it gets wild. I met my stepsister Chloe when I was 14. My mom remarried, and overnight, I gained a stepdad and a ready-made stepsister just 1 year older than me. From the outside, we looked like a blended family that adjusted well, same school, shared bathroom, forced joint photos at holidays. But on the inside, Chloe and I lived on opposite ends of an invisible line. She was the free spirit, impulsive, social, always chasing something shiny. I was the responsible one, quiet, careful, always cleaning up behind everyone else's choices. When we were teenagers, that difference showed up in small ways. She'd forget to do chores, I'd finish them so no one got in trouble. She'd overspend her allowance, I'd lend her money and never see it again. Every time, my mom would say, "She's still figuring things out, Lena, you're just more mature." At 15, it felt like a compliment. At 27, it felt like a warning I didn't listen to. We drifted in our 20s, different apartments, different lives. I got a steady job at a marketing firm, saved slowly, paid my bills on time. Chloe hopped from job to job, had business ideas that never lasted longer than a few months, and always seemed to be one big break away from stability. We weren't close. But we weren't enemies either. We texted on birthdays, sent each other memes sometimes, saw each other at family gatherings and made small talk about work and the weather. Looking back, I think that's why what she did hit me so hard. Because I never saw it coming. It started with a casual coffee invite. Chloe rarely initiated anything, so when she texted, "Hey, can we talk? Coffee on me?" I had a weird feeling, but I said yes. We met at a little cafe near my place. She arrived late, sunglasses on, hair messy in a way that didn't look intentional this time. "Hey," she said, sliding into the chair across from me. "You look well." "Stable, thanks," I replied, unsure if that was a compliment. She laughed nervously and stirred her coffee without drinking it. "So, I kinda need your help." There it was. I stayed calm. "Okay. Help with what?" She took a breath. "I'm in a little bit of debt." "A little." Those two words were doing a lot of work. "How much?" I asked. She avoided my eyes. "Like, 30,000. My stomach dropped. 30,000 what? She winced. "Dollars." I tried to process it. How did that even happen? She launched into a story about a failed online store, some high-interest credit cards, a couple of personal loans. It sounded messy and reckless, but unfortunately, very Chloe. Then she said something that made my skin crawl. "It's kind of your fault too." I blinked. "I'm sorry." "What?" She leaned in, lowering her voice like she was sharing a secret. "I mean, think about it. You've always been the responsible one. You never had to worry about money like I did. Mom and Dad were so relaxed with you because they knew you'd figure it out. I had pressure, expectations. I cracked under it. You didn't." I stared at her. "Chloe, that doesn't make your debt my fault." She huffed. "You had stability. I had chaos. It's not fair." I sighed. "I'm sorry life hasn't been fair to you, but that doesn't change basic math. I didn't take out your loans." Her eyes flashed. "You don't get it. You've always had it easier." That was the moment something in me shut down. I'd worked hard for everything I had, late nights, tight budgets, saying no to trips I couldn't afford, taking side gigs when I wanted to sleep. But apparently, in her head, I'd just lucked into being stable. "I can't give you $30,000, I said calmly. "I don't have that. And even if I did, I wouldn't." She scoffed. "Wow, nice. Family means nothing to you, huh?" "Family doesn't mean I set myself on fire to keep you warm," I replied. Her jaw clenched. "You're unbelievable." We left it there. She stormed out. I stayed and finished my coffee with shaking hands. I thought that was the end of it, that she'd be mad, vent to friends, maybe cool off. I was wrong, because 3 weeks later, the bank called. And that's when I found out Chloe hadn't just blamed me for her debt. She'd done something much worse. My stepdad stared at me in confusion, holding his coffee like he'd forgotten what it was. Chloe sat stiffly on the couch, her phone still in her hand. Her expression shifting from annoyance to fear the moment she realized why I was there. I just got a call from a bank, I said, keeping my voice steady even though my heart was pounding. They asked about a loan application. A loan I never applied for. My stepdad frowned. Loan? What loan? I turned to Chloe. Do you want to explain? Or should I? Her eyes darted around the room, as if searching for an escape route. Lena, I told you, you're overreacting. No, I said sharply. I'm reacting exactly as someone should when they find out their identity was used without permission. My stepdad's expression darkened. Chloe, what did you do? She groaned and rolled her eyes. Like we were inconveniencing her. It wasn't a big deal. I just used Lena's info because no one would approve me. A big deal, I snapped. Chloe, that's fraud. You tried to get a loan under my name. The bank caught it before processing. If they hadn't, I'd be thousands of dollars in debt. Chloe shot to her feet. I wouldn't have let that happen. I stared at her, stunned. You already did. The moment you submitted that application, you risked my credit, my job security, everything. My stepdad set his mug down harder than necessary. We trusted you, and you used your stepsister's identity to get money you had no intention of paying back. Chloe folded her arms. I was going to pay it back, eventually, I said. Laughing in disbelief, you already owe money you can't pay. What made you think adding more debt was the answer? She glared at me. You don't understand. You've always had it easy. Mom and Dad trusted you. They didn't pressure you like they pressured me. My voice lowered. Chloe, I worked hard for what I have. You can't blame me for your decisions. Her defensiveness cracked. Just a little. I was desperate. I needed help, and you refused. That doesn't give you the right to use my identity. I replied. You could have ruined my entire financial future. My mom entered the room, sensing the tension. Why is everyone yelling? I explained the situation in one breath. My mom went pale. And then slowly turned to Chloe. Please tell me you didn't do this. Chloe threw her hands up. What else was I supposed to do? Everyone expects me to figure it out alone, and Lena acts like she's better than me. I stepped forward. I don't act better than you. I'm just not willing to clean up your messes anymore. My stepdad spoke firmly. This wasn't asking for help, this was deception. Chloe's voice softened, but only from exhaustion, not remorse. I didn't think it would go through. I thought, maybe the system would decline it. And I'd try something else. My stomach dropped. You didn't think about what it would do to me. She hesitated, then said quietly. I thought you wouldn't notice. That sentence hit harder than anything else. She believed she could use my identity, get money, and I'd never see the damage. It showed exactly how little she valued me. My stepdad looked heartbroken. Chloe, you could face consequences for this, real ones, legal ones. She shook her head rapidly. No. You can't let that happen. It's not up to us anymore, I said. The bank already flagged it. They're opening a fraud investigation. Chloe's face drained of color. Lena, please, you can stop this. I can't, I said. More quietly now, even if I wanted to. They have to investigate. My mom sat down heavily. I can't believe this, Chloe. How could you do something so reckless? Chloe blinked fast, trying to hold back tears. I was scared. I felt like I was drowning. And everyone kept telling me to be responsible, like it's that easy. I didn't feel satisfaction hearing her break. I felt sad for her choices, sad for what this meant for our family, but sadness didn't erase what she did. We will get you help, my stepdad said, but you are going to take accountability. You put Lena at risk. Chloe looked at me with a mixture of fear and resentment. I never thought you'd turn on me like this. I'm not turning on you, I said. I'm protecting myself. Something you should have considered before doing all this. She sank into the couch, finally quiet. In that silence, the truth settled over all of us. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, a deliberate one, and nothing between us would ever be the same again. 3 quiet weeks passed after my argument with Chloe. Too quiet. No passive-aggressive texts, no dramatic social media posts, no sudden emergencies normally. Chloe's silence meant she was getting her life together. But this time, something felt different. Like her anger hadn't disappeared, it had redirected. I didn't expect the truth to come from a bank. It was a Thursday morning at work when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail, but an uneasy feeling made me pick up. Hello, a calm, professional voice responded. Hello, is this Lena Carter? Yes. This is she. This is First Western Financial Services following up on your loan application. My brain stalled. My what? Your loan application from last month, the woman repeated. We're calling to verify some details before processing. I felt the air leave my lungs. I didn't apply for any loan. She paused. Like she wasn't sure how to respond. Ms. Carter, we have an electronic application with your full name, address, date of birth, employer information, and digital signature. My grip tightened on the phone. That wasn't me. I never submitted anything. Her tone shifted immediately. Then it's possible your information was used without your permission. We need to begin a fraud review. My stomach turned. Please do. And can you tell me the amount? $28,500. I sat back in my chair, dizzy. Oh my God. Ms. Carter, have you shared your personal information with anyone recently? I closed my eyes. Only one name came to mind. Chloe. She'd been in and out of my room when we were younger. She knew my birthday, my address, my middle name. She'd asked me to scan documents for her before, sometimes when I wasn't looking. She once borrowed my mail by accident. Or so she claimed. Pieces clicked together in a way that made me feel physically sick. I think I know who did it, I whispered. The woman's voice softened. We'll email you everything you need to dispute the application. You caught this early. That's good. Early. As in, not the only one. I hung up and immediately pulled up my credit report. My hands shook as the page loaded. A hard inquiry from First Western Financial. Then another from a second lender. And a credit card application I didn't recognize. My breath hitched. No. No. 3 attempts. 3 tries to use my identity. This wasn't a mistake, it was repeated, deliberate. The anxiety turned into anger, hot, sharp, undeniable. Chloe hadn't just been desperate. She'd been careless with my life. I closed my laptop, grabbed my keys, and walked straight out of the office. The confrontation begins. I drove to my parents' house without thinking twice. Chloe's car was in the driveway, which felt like a sign, or maybe just proof I wouldn't have to chase her down. My mom greeted me at the door, surprised. Lena? Everything okay? I need to talk to Chloe, I said, brushing past her. Now. I found Chloe in the living room scrolling through her phone. She looked up when she heard my footsteps, and the moment she saw my face, panic flickered through her eyes. What's your problem? She asked, trying to sound annoyed but failing. I didn't answer her question. Instead, I asked, did you use my name to apply for a loan? Her face drained before she could hide it. What? No. The bank called me, I said bluntly. They flagged the application. They have all my information on it. My info. Chloe. Not yours. Her posture stiffened. I needed help. You refused. What was I supposed to do? Not this, I snapped. Not steal my identity. Not risk destroying my credit. Not drag me into a mess you made. My stepdad entered the room looking confused. What's going on? Your daughter used my identity to apply for loans. I told him, multiple loans. His jaw tightened. Chloe, tell me she's lying. Chloe glared at me like I was the one betraying her. I didn't steal anything. I just borrowed her information. It's not like I meant for it to get this far. You submitted a loan application, I said, voice trembling with anger. That is this far. You forged my signature. Chloe's voice cracked. I wouldn't have let anything bad happen. I stared at her. You already did. If the bank hadn't caught it, I'd be responsible for almost $30,000. My mom put a hand over her mouth. Chloe, why would you do something like this? Chloe crossed her arms defensively. Because everyone expects me to figure things out alone. Lena gets everything right, everything handed to her. I cut her off. I worked hard for what I have. You don't get to rewrite my life to justify your actions. Her shoulders dropped. I just wanted a chance, and you thought taking mine was fair, I asked bitterly. She didn't answer. My stepdad looked heartbroken. Chloe, this isn't a small mistake. This could become a criminal investigation. Chloe's voice trembled. Lena, please. Don't let them report me. I stared at her. Really stared, and realized something important. She wasn't sorry for what she did, she was sorry because she got caught, and that made the betrayal hurt even more. The days following the confrontation felt strangely quiet, like the calm after a tornado where nothing is exactly where it used to be, and you're not sure which pieces can be put back together. The bank had already emailed me the fraud packet. I spent hours filling out forms, uploading my ID, and writing a sworn statement that I had not authorized any of the applications submitted under my name. Every time I typed a sentence, anger flared up again. Not just at the loan, but at the violation. Chloe didn't just make a mistake. She invaded my life. My privacy. My identity. I tried not to think about her, but the truth was, she stayed on my mind constantly. I kept waiting for her to apologize properly, to show even a sliver of remorse. But instead, she went silent. No texts, no calls. No attempt to make things right. Maybe she was embarrassed. Maybe she was scared. Or maybe, as painful as it was to admit, she simply didn't think she owed me anything. The investigation begins exactly 5 days later. I received another call from the bank. "Ms. Carter, this is regarding your fraud claim," the representative said. "We've reviewed the documents and compared signatures." "Yes," I asked. "Heart hammering, we've determined that the application was fraudulent. You are not liable for the loan." Relief washed through me so fast I had to sit down. "Thank you, truly. There is one more thing," the woman added, "because your identity was used without permission. We are required to forward this case to the Credit Bureau Fraud Division. They may contact you, depending on their findings. Law enforcement might also be involved." My breath caught. Law enforcement, investigators. Criminal charges. Chloe had crossed a line she couldn't backtrack from. After I hung up, I felt no satisfaction, just exhaustion. It's strange how justice and sadness can coexist. I wanted protection, not punishment. But I also couldn't shield her from what she had chosen. The family meeting my mom called later that afternoon and asked me to come over. Her voice sounded tense and tired. When I arrived, Chloe was already there, sitting on the couch with her knees pulled to her chest. She looked small, angry, ashamed, but mostly terrified. My stepdad stood near the fireplace, arms crossed, jaw tight. My mom paced behind him. "What happened with the bank?" my mom asked gently. I told them everything, the result, the referral, the possibility of law enforcement involvement. Chloe's face crumbled. "Lena, please tell them not to press charges." "I can't control that," I said quietly, "and even if I could, I can't keep covering for you." Tears spilled down her cheeks. But there was still defensiveness mixed in. "You don't understand. You've never needed help like I do." My stepdad cut in sharply. "This isn't about Lena needing help. This is about you breaking the law." Chloe buried her face in her hands. "I just wanted to fix everything. I couldn't help it," I finally snapped. "But you didn't try to fix it. You tried to dump it onto me. You didn't ask for a second chance. You tried to take mine." My mom sat beside Chloe and touched her shoulder. "Sweetheart, we love you. We always have. But love doesn't erase consequences." Chloe looked up, pain and anger swirling in her eyes. "So what happens now?" My stepdad sighed heavily. "We're getting you a financial counselor. A therapist. And until you prove you can be trusted, you're not handling any shared accounts or documents in this house." Chloe nodded weakly. Then he added, "And you're apologizing to Lena properly. You owe her that." Chloe looked at me, eyes swollen, voice barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry. I really am. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't healing everything. But it was something. I hope you learn from this," I said softly. "Not just for me. For yourself." She nodded again, tears dripping onto her jeans. A shift I didn't expect. 2 weeks passed before anything else happened. During that time, Chloe started attending counseling sessions. My stepdad managed her bills. My mom checked her credit reports with her. It was like watching someone relearn how to live slowly, painfully, but genuinely. One evening, I got a text from an unknown number. When I opened it, my breath stopped. "I'm working on myself. Thank you for not giving up on me completely." Chloe attached was a screenshot of her closing to credit cards and setting up a budgeting app. For the first time, I saw not the girl who blamed me, not the woman who tried to borrow my identity, but someone desperately trying to dig herself out of a hole she built. Someone who finally understood the damage she'd caused. And for the first time, I felt something closer to relief than anger, the realization looking back, the loan wasn't the real problem, it was the symptom. The flashing warning sign of someone drowning quietly for years. Chloe's mistake hurt me deeply emotionally, financially, and personally, but it also forced our family to stop pretending, to stop minimizing her struggles, To stop excusing behavior that needed real intervention, the consequences were harsh. But they created the one thing Chloe had never had before, a real chance to change, and for me, it taught me a hard truth. Protecting yourself doesn't make you cruel, it makes you strong, even when the person hurting you is family. For weeks, I kept expecting everything to fall apart again. Part of me believed Chloe would return to old habits, that the fear would fade and she'd slip back into recklessness. But strangely, the opposite happened. For the first time in her life, she seemed genuinely committed to change, not because anyone forced her to, but because she had finally hit a point she couldn't ignore anymore. The family wasn't magically healed, but the chaos had quieted, and in that quiet, something new started to grow, a new kind of distance. Chloe and I didn't talk much at first. The tension between us wasn't anger anymore, it was caution, maybe even grief for the trust that used to exist, even if it was fragile, grief for the things we couldn't undo. Sometimes she'd text me updates from her financial counselor, little milestones she seemed proud of, closed a credit card today, made my first budget that actually makes sense. Turns out spending money to feel less stressed makes you more stressed, who knew? I'd respond politely. Not cold but not overly warm either. I wasn't ready to rebuild what she broke, not yet. But I didn't want to shut the door completely. She didn't push, she didn't beg, she didn't defend herself anymore. That alone was progress. The day she finally told the truth, about a month after everything happened. Chloe asked if we could talk. I didn't know what to expect. I had braced myself for excuses, tears, or another attempt to shift blame. But when I met her at a quiet park near my apartment, she didn't come armed with reasons. She came with honesty. I want to explain, she said, not defensively, but gently, not to justify anything. Just so you know what was going on in my head. I nodded, letting her speak. I've always felt behind you, she admitted, not because you did anything wrong, but because I kept messing up, and every time I messed up, I'd panic and make it worse. I didn't know how to handle being the one who couldn't get it together. Hearing her say it out loud felt strangely painful, not because she was blaming me, but because she finally wasn't. And when you told me no, she continued, I felt embarrassed. I thought if I asked Mom or Dad, they'd be disappointed in me again. So I did the stupidest thing I could have done. I stayed silent, giving her the space she'd never taken before. When the bank called me, she said quietly, I realized I almost destroyed your life while trying to fix mine. And that scared me more than anything. Her eyes filled, and for the first time since this all began, I believed her. Not because she cried, Chloe had cried plenty before, but because this time, she wasn't crying for herself. She was crying for what she'd done to me. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said. I don't even know if I deserve that. I just want you to know I'm trying. Not for you. Not for Mom or Dad, for me. I exhaled slowly, the last bit of bitterness loosening its grip. I appreciate that, I said, and I'm glad you're getting help, but trust doesn't come back fast. It will take time, she nodded. I know, and I'm willing to earn it. A shift in our family. My parents were different after everything too. My stepdad became more involved in Chloe's finances, not to control her, but to support her. My mom started attending sessions with her occasionally. Learning how to help without enabling. We weren't pretending anymore. We weren't tiptoeing. We weren't denying warning signs the way we used to. Sometimes families break quietly. Other times they break loudly. Ours broke through a bank call, a confrontation, and a mess none of us could avoid. But sometimes breaking is what lets light in. The day I realized we were healing, one evening, months after the incident, Chloe sent me a message. I paid off one of my debts today. A small one. But it's a start, and for the first time, I didn't respond out of obligation. I responded out of hope. I'm proud of you, she replied with a single heart emoji, not dramatic, not needy, just grateful, and somehow, that tiny symbol felt like a marker in our story. A quiet promise that we weren't done, that we could become something healthier than what we were. Not best friends, not suddenly close, but honest, respectful, growing. In a way, the identity theft incident became a strange turning point, not because it was forgivable, but because it forced a truth into the open that none of us could ignore. Chloe wasn't my enemy. She wasn't a villain. She was someone who made terrible choices out of fear and desperation, choices she now understood the consequences of. I didn't have to hate her. I didn't have to trust her right away, but I could allow both of us to move forward without carrying the weight of the past. The final realization: family can hurt you in ways strangers never could because they have access to your heart, your history, your vulnerabilities, but sometimes, family can heal too, not by erasing the damage, but by learning from it. Chloe learned accountability, my parents learned boundaries. And I learned that protecting myself isn't cruel, it's necessary. My identity is safe now, my credit is intact, but more importantly, my sense of self is stronger than ever, and for the first time, I believe Chloe's is finally growing too.